call this meeting of the planning meeting to order. Not the meeting of the planning meeting. I welcome everybody. Our first duty of order is to look and see if there's any additions or deletions or amendments to the agenda. Being none. Next one is number 3, disclosure of pecuniary interest and the nature thereof. If anybody has one, you can declare it now or at the time when it occurs. Good. The next agenda item is number 4, our adoption of minutes. We had a chance to look those over. And we have a motion moved by Councillor Carr, seconded by Councillor Schreider, that the Planning Committee minutes dated September 16, 2019 are hereby approved as circulated. All those in favor? Opposed? That's carried. Next, we're on to our public meetings. And first off, on our planning agenda, we have item Z-59-19-44, Ken and Shirley Underwood, 626 River Road. And I'll call upon our county planner to take us through this, please.
Perfect. So this is an application for a zoning bylaw amendment at the noted address. So you can see the property there on the screen in the outline in orange. So you can see here on the aerial, it's currently actively farmed. It's an agricultural property with private water and septic, and it has access from both the River Road and Concession 8 up here. So there's an access point there and access along the River Road. So the proposal is to sever a surplus farm dwelling from the retained farmland. So the retained farmland is proposed to be rezoned to prohibit residential development as per provincial policy, and a holding provision is also being included for those lands with agricultural potential. Oh, sorry, not agricultural, archaeological potential. The severed lands, which are shown here generally, are proposed to be rezoned to allow for a reduced lot size, a reduced frontage, and reduced setbacks. And the retained lands also will include a provision for reduced lot size. And for that, we did go through a Bruce County official plan process. As you can see here, you can see kind of generally where a typical original Crown 100-acre lot would have been, but there is the river that goes through here, and so actually about 8 weeks after this lot was originally surveyed in the 1860s, this section was separated from the rest of the Crown lot. So this is technically the third severance from that original Crown. So we did go to the County Council, and they have approved that third severance, as well as the reduced retained lot size, which in this case is 31 hectares. Typically, the agricultural lot size in Bruce County is 40 hectares. And so that's already been done at the county level. So today we're really just looking at the zoning of those retained and severed lands. You can see this is kind of the aerial of the area proposed to be severed. So there's the existing house shed and then a series of ponds as well, which will go with the house. So really those 31 hectares that are remaining in the retained farmland represent pretty much all of the croppable land from this original Crown parcel. So in terms of comments from agencies and staff, town staff had no comments in regards to the rezoning. They are proposing a road widening request associated through the consent process. So that's the most, through the conditions of consent, that's an appropriate way to get things such as road widening at that time. And I believe that is for the River Road frontage, yes, the River Road frontage. The SVCA confirmed that the current EP zone, which you can kind of see here in the blue, coincides with their mapping, so it's accurate. And all the existing buildings are outside of the EP, and any additional construction in the future would be required to also be located outside of those hazardous areas. There were no public comments received in regards to this application. And so, just to recap, this is a zoning bylaw amendment which will rezone the subject lands from their current agricultural and EP designation, and instead we'll have two special agricultural zones for both the retained and the retained and severed lands, as well as holding areas within those zones for lands with high archaeological potential. This is a relatively standard practice, doing the holding zones for agricultural areas of agricultural potential. It means that applicants don't have to go through an archaeological assessment up front, but if there's any construction proposed, site alteration proposed on the lands in the future, then they would have to get one done. So it protects our cultural heritage resources without putting any kind of undue burden on landowners up front. And this has been done in other surplus farm dwelling severances in Saugeen Shores. Overall, I think that this proposal is consistent with the PPS, conforms to the county official plan and the intent and purpose of the zoning bylaw, so it represents good land use planning, and I do recommend approval.
Thank you very much, Tessa. Are there any public comments? I'll ask one more time. Does anybody from the public wish to make any comments on this? Council, does anybody wish to make any comments? Okay, so it's been recommended, subject to a review of submissions arising from the public meeting, that the committee approve zoning bylaw amendment Z-59-19.44 as attached, and the necessary bylaw be forwarded to the council for adoption. All carried. Our next agenda item is Z-2020-006, Blue Water Pork, and that is pork, not park, care of Ron Davidson on 5103 Bruce Road 3. Tessa, if you'd run us through that one, please.
Perfect. So this is another surplus farm dwelling severance. It has some similarities to the application I just spoke of. This is quite a large lot, however. It includes portions of two original crown lots. So you can see the aerial there. So it is an actively farmed parcel. There is some EP zone along the roadway, as well as along the Saugeen River, or I'm not sure if it's the branch of the Saugeen or the main Saugeen, but we've got EP along there as well. It has private water and septic, and has access from Bruce Road 3 in terms of the severed parcel. The retain also has access from this side road, which I'm blanking on, and it's too small to say here. Thank you. Yeah. So that this is the proposed severed lot here. So it'll include the existing dwelling, two sheds, as well as the well and septic. It's also proposed to include the entrances along the county road. There's quite a steep grade change here. There's a bit of a hill, and so we agreed that allowing for both entrances to remain was acceptable, given that it doesn't really remove any agricultural land from production. Like this area in here, due to the grades, isn't really croppable, and having these access points provides much better sight lines and access depending on which directions you're going. So just from a safety point of view, it made sense. And there's other entrances along, I believe, both the county road and Side road for agricultural access to the retained lands. So in this case, again, the severance is required, or the zoning is required to rezone those retained farmlands to prohibit residential development as per county policy. And again, we're also including a holding zone for lands with high archaeological potential. The severed land, so this portion here, also requires relief in terms of lot size. It does meet the required frontage in the ag zone, but not the required frontage. And there's also some relief being requested for setbacks, mostly from the side yards from the shed and the rear yard setback from the shed as well. going down from 20 meters to slightly less than that. So in this case, there's also a Bruce County official plan amendment going forward. This one has not gone forward yet to County Council. It is intended to be on the agenda in March, and this is to allow for a third severance from the original Crown lot. So as I mentioned, this is 2 original Crown lots. You can generally see where on the aerial where the division is between the two. So we've got lot 4 and lot 5, I believe. And then there was a small severance taken out right at the corner of the river here back in the 70s, from what I could tell. And through my background research, it showed that this lot really never had anything to do with the agricultural operation. So it wasn't a house that was existing that was intended for farm workers or anything like that. So we do intend to recommend approval of the county official plan amendment, but that has not gone forward yet and will have to be approved prior to the zoning coming into force and effect for this property. So in terms of this one, in interdepartmental and agency comments, there are no comments from the town of Saugeen Shores. Again, the SPCA confirmed that the EP zone coincides with their hazard mapping, did not recommend the preparation of an EIS. We haven't received any public comments with regards to this proposal. And so again, this is to rezone the property from agricultural and environmental protection to agricultural 1A special and an additional special for the severed lands, as well as a holding zone. No change again is proposed to the EP zone, so again, I do recommend approval.
Thank you. Are there any members of the public that would like to speak? Thank you. Any questions from council? You're off the hook. So our recommendation, subject to a review of submissions arising from the public meeting, that committee approve zoning bylaw amendment Z-2020-006 as attached, and the necessary bylaw be forwarded to council for adoption. That the final adoption of zoning bylaw amendment Z-2020-006 be deferred pending approval of the associated official plan amendment by county council. Questions or concerns? All in favor? Any opposed? And I guess that takes us to the final part. And we have a motion put forward by Councillor Smith and seconded by Councillor Grace that this planning committee meeting of February 18th, 2020 hereby adjourn at 6:43 p.m. That is quick. All in favor? We are adjourned. Thank you.